Everybody, we are back. It is Tape to Live's favorite Raiders podcast, favorite Raiders channel, favorite Raiders everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also, follow us on Twitter at the Mark John NFL for me, at Glen Rockney for Glenn. And of course, discount code TDL Panda Subs.com. So discount code TDL PandaSubs.com. You can use that discount code, get 35% off. Also, part of Dogs Media Network. So shout out to Dogs Media Network for supporting the channel. And some new things we got here too. We got some merch, guys. Go check that out. We got some TDL merch. I'm gonna make some exclusive Friday Night Live merch. I'm gonna try to make some cool stuff with that, but we got the merch, so you see that it's in the link too. Also, go ahead and check that out. Go support the merch, guys. And then I got a QR code for you here too. If I can get this pulled up, boom. Use the QR code. Let me get this other thing off here. Boom, QR code. Go ahead. You pick your phone if you're on your phone. Go, or you're watching us on TV. Go ahead, put that in there, and we're good to go. So we're back with Tape Don't Lie Friday Night Live. We had a break off last week. I mean, my daughter had a play anyway, so it wouldn't even matter if you missed it. I had missed 2 Glens. So
you didn't do a Colin Cowherd solo episode, man?
No, I did on Wednesday. On Wednesday, I gave him the solo schedule release, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't go solo on Friday. I had to go to the play, and then and then we're back though. We're back this week. A lot happened this week though with OTAs, right? I mean, OTA news, interviews, contracts. It felt like it was a busy week for the Raiders. So definitely a lot for us to talk about today. But how you feeling, man? How you feeling, dude?
Oh, good. Like you said, there's a lot that happened. And I always forget around this time of year that you have just those little things like minicamp, the OTA, and all these things that, you try not to read too far into, but the press conferences were unbelievable this week, from the coaches down to the players. I mean, it was like last year, it truly was just people saying nothing. And I'm not a guy that, look, if you're winning football games, you don't need to be up there chatting up and everything, but it does seem like people want to talk, aka want to come into work, as Michael Mayer said, and we'll talk about. It seems like more people are just more willing to like be at their job and do things. So I'm taking it as a good thing for now, and I'm excited.
Yeah, total change of coaching staff has really helped a lot of things. I mean, we obviously learned this week that everybody hates Josh McDaniels, which we already knew.
Yeah,
everybody hates Josh, so that is pretty interesting. That hasn't changed. He just does a bad hire, man. I don't understand. Like I understand like the thought process, because I was a little bit excited about it too when it first happened, but man, it was such a bad hire, dog. It was terrible.
It was bad, and it's funny because like I didn't care for some of the moves Ziegler made, but there's still some talent left from that administration on this team, like talent that I'm glad is here, and so there was that, but no, I remember he got voted, and nobody from the Raiders talking, everyone's doing who had the best offseason, everyone's doing that stuff, who's a surprise team. Not a lot of people other than us are picking the Raiders, but from all these other guys, they don't ever take into account, oh yeah, they don't have a quote unquote a quarterback. They do all these things, the reason why the Raiders can't compete this year. But they never say like, yeah, they went from objectively, and it was voted on by players in the anonymous poll and everything, objectively the worst coach in the NFL. It's what skewed the Raiders' whole franchise ranking, was just that. Everything else seemed to be really good. And then they're moving on to at least a guy, look, he's unknown, sure, but we did go 5-4 with him. So yeah, it's like, and people just seem to love him. And that to me is nets you a couple wins, I think.
Yeah. Also, with the media and offseason, everybody just acts like the Raiders are going to suck, right?
Yeah.
And the Raiders are usually better than what people think.
Yeah.
To be honest, I mean, the year when people thought they were going to be good, they're still giving them 8 and 9. Like when they traded for Devontae Adams, and there was like a buzz about them.
Yeah.
Chandler Jones. People were, the height of that was 8 and 9. I saw some dude. This dude always has the worst kind of does his schedule. Like I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to diss him, but he does a terrible job. And he had the Raiders going like 4-13 or something like that, or 6-11. I'm like, bro, do you watch anything? Like, It's just his defensive line is
Mm-hmm.
is going to win some games for them. Like
Yeah.
you could keep it real, especially they're talking about Malcolm Kuntz becoming the leader, which you could be talking about Malcolm Kuntz today a little bit in depth. But yeah, I mean, the way the defense played last year, I mean, the defense finished top 5 in every category to end the season. So it's not
Yeah.
like they were just, you know, it was really a totally different team when Antonio Pierce took over. I mean, that team shouldn't have won 5-4, man. I went and watched some of that offensive film. There's no way that team should not have won 5
Yeah.
and they did. So I think it's a big deal. And, people need to take that into account.
No, I agree 100%. It's just I get it. I get the questions with the quarterback. I think all of Raider Nation has the question at quarterback. Now, I tend to think it's not as bad as some people think, but that's an obvious thing. Nobody is sitting here like in the car debate where one side thinks he's this good, one side thinks he shouldn't be in the league. It's nobody's really doing that right now. So we'll know. I think we'll know after, really half a season, like, all right, we're really going to have to go make a move. Like, and that's fine. That's good for that. The rest of the roster, I think they've built up. I think they've gotten dominant at certain position groups. Like, I think their receiving core is really good this year. And which I do include Bowers in that.
Mm-hmm.
Their offensive line got a lot better. And then I also think on defensive line, that should be the thing that, like you said, wins games for this team. They didn't really have that. They didn't really have that in the last couple of years. It's just like one position group that's better than most of the league.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think people are sleeping on Malcolm Kuntz too. I think that's the big part of this. Kind of people not getting ready for this Raiders defense. All right, because they brought in Christian Wilkins, they got Max Crosby, and they're kind of just like an afterthought. But I mean, they didn't complete a pass against the Chiefs last year. I mean, we could keep it real, guys. They didn't complete a pass for 3 quarters, and they won. Right. So I mean, that kind of shows how good this defense. They kind of laid an egg the next week. They couldn't stop the run, which was really disappointing against the Colts. So they kind of laid an egg a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think the Colts were ready for them and just ready to bully them out of the game. But Crosby and Kuntz didn't have a good game that game either.
No.
So that was really disappointing. But then you saw him come right back again against the Broncos and Jarrett Stidham, and I mean, it was just consistent. I mean, the Vikings only give up 3 points. You know what I'm saying? So even if the offense scored 0, I mean, they gave up 3. You know what I mean? Like the defense was just completely different, and I think that's why people are sleeping on the Raiders. They don't think the defense is going to be good because, I don't know, we didn't trade for Jalen Ramsey or something. I don't know, dog.
Yeah, and I still think they're gonna post June 1st do something big on defense. I do. They're creating all this space and stuff, and I do feel like once that Jimmy money hits, once I think it's Jimmy and Renfro that come off the books on the 1st. I could be wrong on that, but once that happens, they might. I still have a feeling like one of those like Marshawn Lattimore tier people might just be out there, and the Raiders might go do it. Like they haven't signed the corner yet, and the corners are there to be signed and traded or traded for. And I still think they're going to. And like I said, I get it. I'd rather them be slept on because I hated those couple of years when like Good Morning Football would hype them up like super hard. And we're like, we would know they don't have good linebackers. We would know these things. And it would kind of create for like an annoying day because they'd be all hyping them up and you get all the Twitter clips going everywhere of Kyle Brandt and all these guys getting excited about the Raiders. And then they get bombed out against an opponent that's better than them.
Yeah, for sure, man. Somebody asked us, can we do a breakdown of old Raiders games? That's the plan, man. This summer, we're gonna do something about.
We got to do some throwback. We got to do classic stuff. We got to do a little. We got to like rub some sage on the Raiders organization. Perhaps exercise. Like I'll show up in a priest collar, dude. I don't care.
Yeah, man. We got to evoke those spirits, man. We got to get
good and bad. We can hit the big win at Mile High where McFadden was just running. We could do that, and then you got to do like the Lions game that we were talking about, and like we got to do that. It's just we got to do the good, the bad, and the ugly.
The worst thing that happened when they changed Game Pass is Game Pass used to go all the way back to 2011.
Yeah, and
I wonder if I still have some of those Jason Campbell clips because I remember I got some clips of that, some all 22 from him from that offense back in the day. And I went back and watched. I was like, man, Darren McFadden was awesome that year. I don't know how Jason Campbell was 4-2, but he did his job. I mean, that was different league, different time. You know what I'm saying? So,
and they would have big plays from Jacoby Ford that they would be like barely hanging on in a game, and Jacoby Ford would have a massive touchdown, like contested catch. I remember against the Chiefs, he caught the ball and double and try. I was like, man, we got the next Sean Jackson, dude. This guy's amazing. And a
Yeah.
couple of years, I really liked him. But yeah, it was just
I liked Jacoby Ford too, man.
yeah, he was good. I mean, a foot, right? Didn't he have like a foot injury and he just kind of fell out of the league after that or something?
Yeah. Jason Campbell is just talented. I mean, he's a first round pick. The dude, you go watch him a little bit. He had a big arm, man. You know what I mean? He was able to.
I was a fan.
Santana Moss had some good years with him. So, but and that's the same thing like a player like Jacoby Ford. I mean, that was the best thing he did was throw the ball down the field. So, but still, him getting hurt that year that ruined the whole season. So, I mean, we can talk about whatever we want to talk about, but with that, man. Yeah. All right, so let's check out the rundown here. What we're talking about today. So of course the Aiden O'Connell number change. I can't spell, guys. I'm sorry about that, but it is okay. Michael Mayer presser, Parham at right guard, the Crosby contract, and Kuntz and White over under. So that's what we're talking about today. So Aiden O'Connell, Michael Mayer, Parham at right guard, which we all thought would happen. The Crosby contract and the Kuntz and White over under. So you guys can't see what the over unders are till we present that, but you know how that works, guys. So let's see what questions we got here. So how hurt is JPJ? I mean, they're not gonna tell us right now because they don't have to. So we really don't know. I know he left practice. We'll see if he ends up practicing more this week or next week when they go into mini camp. I think mini camp's June 11th to the 13th. So if he's out there in mini camp, that's gonna tell us a lot more. I mean, really nobody was out there for OTAs this last time, so that was pretty interesting. But I hope. I mean, he's had some injury history, but I mean that's why you got Cody Whitehair, and that's why they got the depth there. So I just hope that it doesn't get to the point where he's getting hurt all the time, and then we get 3 games of a stud, and then he gets hurt, and then we get 3 games of a stud, and he keeps giving us flashes. I don't want that to happen. So hopefully, whatever happened, they're just they're being precautious.
Yeah, I feel like if it was really bad, like catastrophic, we would have known by now. I think just the fact that it could be anywhere from like miss some time to he'll be back.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, same thing with Colton Miller. Like, Colton Miller, whatever injury he had last year to end the season, you want to rush him back either. There's no reason to. Like, what is he learning? What are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're preserving Colton Miller at this point. We're not teaching him anything. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? So we're not doing anything there, man. Yeah, we're talking about Michael Mayer today, so it's gonna be good to talk about that. And then let's get one more question here. How do you feel about the running back room if we're going to be run heavy? We don't really have a dominant running back. Now, I don't know. I think Zamir White can have a pretty good season if the run blocking is good in front of him, which I think it will be. I think he can have a pretty good season. I mean, that's why we're going to talk about the over-under later on. But I think there is some upside to him because he did finish the year pretty well. I think he averaged about 4.9 or 4.7 yards per carry at the end of the season, had about 350 yards. He had 200-yard games. I mean, on offense, he closed out the Chiefs game. You know what I mean? He had 2 big runs in that game to close the game out. That were great runs. So, I think there's something there. Just don't know how that's going to be over a 16-game season. But we saw a flash. We saw him as the main running back already. It shouldn't be like a shock to us, or I don't know if people should doubt him really, because we already saw that he's a potential. I can get 100 yards for you guy. Like he did it 2 out of the 4 games, and I even think the other games where he didn't get 100 yards, I still thought he was pretty effective, and he never was taking negative runs. So I thought he showed out pretty well last year.
Yeah, I feel like he flipped a switch at some point. Like he looked like a guy who had no vision before that, and then all of a sudden he was actually making like really good setting up blocks and really like, okay, we're starting to see it's not just a guy who, okay, the line started blocking better and he found a gap and ran, had a couple hot games. Like kind of seemed like he was learning the position a little bit more, which was nice. I'm fine not having a bell cow there. I think Zamir White's good. I don't mind. I know some people might laugh at this and he might be toast, but like Dalvin Cook's still there. Why not just invite him for nothing to camp and just see like what you can do out of it? Then you have because Laube, I'm not sure you're going to be handing the ball to Laube a lot this year.
Yeah,
that's not. I don't consider him as
it's not ideal.
Like, yeah, I don't really. Maybe at some point he develops into like an Eckler type of player where you hand it to him. But to me, I'd bring in like a veteran like Dalvin Cook. Alexander Madison still to me is like the worst move this team made in the offseason. It's not catastrophic. It doesn't set you back or anything. I just feel like I just don't think he's good at all. I just think you added a player who's not good at NFL football, and then when you could have added a Dante Foreman or somebody like that who's just could have given a little competition to Zamir White. I don't think Alexander Madison's going to lose to Zamir White. Yeah.
No. I like Alexander Madison can't catch. I mean, he might have the worst hands I've seen on a football player in the NFL. That dude, he is a clapper. That's what we call him. He's a clapper, bro. So
yeah,
he's a clapper. Like,
anyways,
should the Raiders be run heavy? I mean, if they're gonna do 12 personnel, they gotta be able to run the ball. So let's start there. If they want to have this ultimate 12 personnel that their plan is, even though if they didn't plan it, that's the plan now. You got to run the ball, dog, because you can't do 12 personnel all the time.
Yeah, nobody's going to believe that. Nobody's going to. It doesn't give you an opportunity to be multiple and throw the defense off. Like they're not going to put their heavy package, like slower footed heavy package out on the field to stop you because they're going to pass. Exactly. You have to run. I actually think for this year. Now, I think for the long term, the Raiders are going to have to do something at quarterback. But for this year, the run game is actually more important to the offense than Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew isolated, right? Because what you're saying is that these guys are competent quarterbacks. We're going to run the football, and we have a bunch of weapons, guys who can get yak and all that.
Yeah, for sure, man. All right, so let's get into this Aiden O'Connell and the number change, which I mean, I feel like Aiden O'Connell, he's made so much. He's given us so much content, which is going from 4 to 12. It is so much content for us. And I low-key appreciate it because this is a slow time football and he keeps giving us content. I appreciate you, Aiden, by doing that. But I actually got the video. Hopefully I don't get like flagged by Max Crosby here for taking this, but I see other people do this all the time. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? I'm promoting your podcast. I know it has 100K views, bro. But you know what I mean? I know, but check this out. Let's check this clip out.
Is that Tom Brady inspired, or what was the story behind it?
So it really wasn't. I was 12 for a little bit in the Little League, but I just didn't want to be 4 anymore. I didn't pick 4. I was actually 9, and then Tyree wanted 9, so they gave 9 to Tyree. That was like in the first week I was here last year, and then they gave me 4, and I was, as a rookie, you just kind of do what you're told, and so I was cool with it. And then when the offseason ended, I'm like, this is Derek's number. He wore it for that long, and he's a franchise leader and all this stuff. It felt disrespectful, so I just wanted to kind of give that back to him, and
So that's ultimate respect right there.
It is.
No question.
No, that's sweet. So did you have
I love how they respond to that show. It's just like socially, oh man, that's dope, dog.
I'm a huge fan of that show, by the way. I think
that's dope, bro.
My guy Michael Mayer, after that presser, needs to go with Max and talk because I want to really know how you feel. No, Max is good. He's the best beat writer the Raiders have.
That's true.
Max Crosby is the best defensive player in football and the best beat writer for the Raiders. Because he gets way more questions are answered. And it's not, and it doesn't feel like people are like giving up too much game either. Like it feels like guys are just kind of like not bored, like when they're talking to somebody. Shout out to Brogan Roback too. I really like him too. But yeah, the whole thing with the number is weird because I don't think he ever wanted the number. I think he also said that in the thing. It was kind of just like felt like a McDaniels troll. It's very, it's clear that there's an elephant in the room. There's an elephant in the room. And it's like, it almost felt like halfway through last year, because you're in when there's a coaching change, I know there were they had the meeting and there was some things were true, some things weren't and stuff. But now that like the dust has settled, I think these guys now are gonna be like, damn, dude, we went through some shit. Like, can you believe that? Like, what was the thing? I heard somebody else talking, I can't remember who it was saying, somebody was at the OTAs and they were saying like they said like the Raiders felt like they wasted a lot of time last year. That was on that survey. But like it just felt like players didn't feel like their time was utilized in the best way possible when they're in the facility because of the CBA and all that stuff. Now it seemed like they got TVs up there showing them exactly the last play, what was happening. Everything's moving quicker and stuff. So yeah, McDaniels, man. That's all I can say about that. And even the number change, McDaniels. It's crazy.
I think it's wild just to like force him to have that number. Like, why don't you let him pick another number? Like, why don't you just let him pick? You're gonna wear it for it. Like that's like I didn't know we were doing that. Why are you assigning numbers as a head coach? I thought that was just weird in itself. Like, I mean, he's a grown ass man. I mean, he was already 25 coming to the league. He's married. I mean, this is a grown man. He can pick his own damn number. Like, you're gonna wear 4. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's why. I always felt in 2022, and I always said on this channel, I always felt that he was trolling Derek Carr the whole season.
Yeah.
Like it was not a serious year. He trolled Derek Carr. He gave him a bad offensive line. He basically like, Derek, we don't think you're good. Let's see if you could, and they tried to do everything he couldn't do, everything he wasn't good at. They tried to do. It was like a big troll. It was like a waste of a season to me, and that's why he bothered me in the first place. Because I'm like, why are you
Yeah.
like? If you knew Derek Carr before you got here, and if you didn't like him, you should have traded him in the first place, right? If you don't like him, get rid of him. You show some balls, right? And then, but then we go into that season, and it just felt like it was a big troll job, right? Just to get him out of there, just to prove that he's not good, so he can go. Which is, whatever you want to do, that's your prerogative. But then you bring in, Jimmy Garoppolo because you think you're better than Kyle Shanahan, and that didn't work out for you, and we all figured out that's not true. So, and then giving Aiden O'Connell 4 and all that, it's just he's just so petty, man. Like, Bill Belichick's not petty like that, bro. Bill Belichick rubbed some people the wrong way, like Darrelle Revis, guys who are like more, they don't want that kind of authoritarian coach, right? But he still had some, what I would say, what's the word I'm looking for here, Glenn? Basically, like he was more personal with them, I guess, like kind of still felt like that. It wasn't, I hate you guys. Like Josh made it seem like I hate every single one of you and I'm smarter than you. And Bill Belichick was like, you're going to follow my rules, but I still like you as a person. That's the difference. You know what I mean? So some people didn't like the rules with the Patriots and what they did, but some people who were cool with the rules, they still like Bill. That's why Bill can go on Pat McAfee and sounds like he's a normal guy. Nobody's hiring Josh McDaniels to do that. Josh McDaniels would be all weird and goofy.
He has no swag, dude. Let's just say it right now. He has absolutely no swag. I think visors are done in football for a long time because of him. It's thinking back, I was a little excited about it too because they were a playoff team. People can say they overperformed that year when they made the playoffs, lost to Cincinnati, the AFC champion that year. They lost to the AFC champion in a relatively close game, and that was after a season of turmoil. And then you bring in McDaniels, and they extend everybody because he's like, "Oh, I love this team. This is an awesome team. I came up, dude." And then doesn't utilize any of it. Can't even do a simple thing as putting Dylan Parham on the right side of the line, the correct side of the line, their first draft pick as a duo, Ziegler and McDaniels. And like I said, they brought in some talent, Adams, guys like that. They brought in some talent. I liked, I still like guys like Tyree Wilson. I like what's there. It's just nobody enjoyed playing for him. And we're in an era where that matters more than anything. Where players have to like their coach. I'm sorry. This isn't 1972. There's too much media right now. Too many mic'd ups, too many blogs, too many podcasts. They're going to find out you're a dick eventually. And you don't win anything when Daddy Belichick's not there.
Yeah. I guess I hopped right into the McDaniels roast session. Yes. This is a McDaniels roast session. Because he did piss me off because literally that whole season it felt like a troll job because the last game Derek Carr played, it's cold. Okay. It's like 1 degree outside. We all know every Raiders fan knows Derek Carr sucks in the cold. Every single Raiders fan that exists knows he sucks in the cold. And they were winning that game. And they came out passing in the second half. I'm like, they got an interception. They go to the 40. They do a play action pass. I'm like, dog, I wouldn't have ran the ball. I would have passed again. I would have passed on third down only. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a troll job. It was like, just to say, you can't play in the cold. Dog, we knew that already. You know what I mean? So that's what annoyed trolling. He was trolling the hell out of that dude, man.
Yeah, nobody's even, you didn't even hear Aiden say like, yeah, and you know what? Like, I know he's not here anymore, but like, my first year, like the McDaniels, he really like showed me. You don't hear any of that from any of these guys. Like this dude showed me that like, he might be, it didn't end well. I get it. It was time to move on. But he showed me this. You haven't heard that from one player.
No. And I used to hate where they used to say, man, he's the greatest offensive mind. He's a great mind. I used to hate that, man, because he used to run dagger or every third down and 10. So
yeah,
this isn't preseason. God, he was a dick to Aiden O'Connell too, man.
Yeah, after his first start when he just got thrown to the Wolves, man. and he battled. He battled. It wasn't good. It was not a good game, but he battled. And then you want to start critiquing him like he's been in the league 5 years.
Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about. He threw him under the bus after his first start, bro. And after he had like the worst first half you could ever have.
Yeah,
and then almost led them in a comeback. Like, bro,
I just watched that 4th down play to Adams where I was just like, man, that was a ballsy play by a quarterback who was getting knocked around all day. His own fault. He held the ball too long. His own fault.
Yeah.
But and he just didn't play well. And then all of a sudden he was battling. And then just to all you got to say, man, you might have that conversation with him in private. That's totally fine. Whatever. I don't even think I disagree, to be honest. But you just to air him out like that is insane. Like after his first game, and it's not Bryce Young. You know what I mean? He's not first overall pick. Like, this is the guy that changes our franchise. This is the guy you took on day 3 of the draft.
Yeah. One thing I do want to say is I watched Bryce Young's film this week. I don't know, man. This
is not Steph Curry, dude. You're telling me he's not Steph Curry of the NFL?
Man.
Interesting. The problem with that is that they traded so much for him. Like, they might have a chance to get the number 1 pick again and then trade down, maybe with the Raiders. Nobody's ready for that conversation. But, if it goes bad, like, I could see Carolina getting the number 1 overall pick again and being like, all right, one more year, Bryce. Let's get all of these picks back that we wasted trying to get a guy who's under 6 feet tall. I just think they might be in that situation again. They might be responsible for the 3 first overall picks and only getting 2 of them.
Yeah, because, and that's what I kind of want to portray to Raiders fans a lot, too, is that Aiden O'Connell did play better than Will Levis and Bryce Young. I watched Levis, too.
Agreed.
And Levis had some crazy I'll get this straight. Levis has some insane throws, but he would also miss like the easiest throw. Like, I posted one clip trying to show like what the Raiders should do with Brock Bowers. Like, the dude was wide open. He missed him. I'm like, bro.
Oh, the Okoronkwo one where, I know exactly the one you're talking about. Yeah, where the guy's he's wide open in the middle of the field, and he could go to the house if you hit him.
Awesome play call. That was like Raiders. Check that out. You need to do that with Brock Bowers.
Yeah,
like week 1. That because Brock Bowers is catching that, he's going for 6. I mean, he's not going to be tackled. I don't care what anybody says. He's going to take that to the house.
Agreed.
So, see, in Big SCD, he's part of the ALPA crew. He knows I hate short quarterbacks. I do. I am a short quarterback hater.
I still
for good reason, though.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's more often than not. If you blindly just it went by your metrics, like, you probably are right more than you're wrong.
Yeah, but Caleb Williams was 6'1". He was 6'1".
Is he? Yeah, okay. I mean,
is Bryce Young 5'10"? I still don't believe that.
No, I don't. I think they're all shorter, is what I'm saying. I think Caleb Williams is like 5'11". Yeah, and Bryce Young is 5'6", I think. Yeah, I don't know. I was
taller than Bryce Young. I swear. I was taller.
You hit me up that day. You're like, I saw Michael Mayer. He's massive. And Bryce Young, I thought he was like hanging out with somebody. Like
I thought he's part of the equipment crew.
The weed guy.
For the weed guy. Yeah, he's the weed guy
at the combine. It's like, oh, I've hit him up later. Yeah. No, I'm going number 1 overall. Thank you, sir. I don't have any of that stuff. Yeah.
For real, dog. All right. So enough about
McDaniels sucks. The end. All right. Yeah.
Oh no, we got one more McDaniels hate here.
All right. Okay.
Because we're getting into Michael Mayer's comments here. So this is a McDaniels hate show. I should rename the show here. It's just McDaniels hate plus statistical over-unders, because that's basically what this is. This whole show. We're hating Josh McDaniels, because then it even goes to where we're talking about Parham playing right guard.
Yeah, it's true. No, I mean, it's the McDaniels hater ball.
It's all coming together here. It's all coming together. So let's get into Michael Mayer, his thoughts on this season.
My mentality, my attitude this year. Just play ball.
Yeah. Did you kind of sense that this offseason? How it was all about that now?
Yeah. My mentality, my attitude this year. Nothing wrong with last year, but it's just different this year. It's different. I'm way happier. I'm way more positive. I love to be out here on this field. I love to play football, man. I love to. I mean, it's what I do. It's my job, like you said. So I've definitely flipped the script a little bit. Last year, maybe there were some days I didn't want to come in or something was going on. Like, I flipped the script. It's time to dig down, play some ball, win some some ball games and do what I need to do for this team. You know, it's, you know, rookie year's over. That's way in the past. I've already reflected on it. I've already put it behind me. I don't even think about it anymore.
So that's your boy. So I would like you to start on this. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. No, first off, he's getting left in the wind. There's people who are like, are we trading him? You know, like, because now we have Brock Bowers. We can't have two good tight ends. That's illegal, actually. It's in the state of Nevada. It's actually illegal. We have to trade one of them. Michael Mayer is motivated this year. And I think one thing, I'll go back to Max Crosby's podcast, which is why I want Mayer on there. I'm waiting for him to post the thing like, do you have questions for Michael Mayer? Then I'll know he's going on the show. But I'd really like to get him on there because I want to know, you know, like, first off, who hurt you, man? Because like we know it's McDaniels, but was it somebody else on the staff too? And look, if he was the only guy, and I think there were a few people that took it as like, oh, does this guy think he's not going to work hard in certain times? Did he, as a rookie, did he think he was just going to walk right in and dominate right away? No, rookie years are tough. Max on the Rush podcast, they talk about that a lot. They talk about, man, like you learn as a fan, like, man, it is tough being a rookie in the NFL. The Aiden O'Connell interview said that a lot. It's just a lot of things you have to learn. And for tight ends, it's like actually really tough a lot of times because you have to learn. You're in meetings all day, right? You're with offensive line meetings. You're in receivers meetings, probably doing some special team stuff too. You have to learn so many phases of the game. And I think when you're in meetings all the time and like Josh McDaniels is the head of some of them, and he's probably a dick. I mean, I thought Michael Mayer made some plays last year. Like he wasn't. I mean, that Jets game, the game-winning catch against the Jets. I mean, that was incredible. That was an incredible play.
He missed the last 4 games, man. The offense really missed him those last 4 games.
And when they were able to kind of do those bootlegs with him, like against the Chargers, they had that easy walk-in touchdown on the bootleg. I'm like, that's there the whole time. I know this is a good player. And I'm not saying these guys need to be easy on rookies in the NFL, but like when people hate coming to work, the game they love, you know, if a lot of people are saying it, it was catastrophically bad. And I want to hear him go on the Rush and air it out a little more. Or here.
Yeah.
I'm a bigger fan of him than maybe even Max Crosby is. So why don't you come on here?
Yeah, man. Hook that up, man. Get Michael Mayer on here. Break down some film with us. You know,
I didn't beat your ass in training camp that last year, Michael Mayer. I didn't rush you and make an example of you, and everybody was posting the clip. That wasn't me. I didn't post that. In fact, I reported them to Twitter and said this is harassment. Don't do that to my guy. So I didn't do that. Just remember, which podcast you're gonna go say this on. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, it just goes back to Josh, man. I mean, how bad? He's just the worst. He had to be literally the worst coach. Michael Mayer came from like Brian Kelly, right? And you know, Marcus Freeman. I mean, they're not like the most like. I mean, I think maybe Freeman's more of a player's coach than Brian
Kelly's
Kelly.
A dick. Kelly's a dick. Yeah,
he's an asshole, right?
Yeah.
Straight up, right? And he was perfectly fine. He's the best tight end in college football.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Like Josh McDaniels just has to be like one of the worst people on earth. And you know, one of the things that really made me notice that is when the Steelers game, you know, from 2022, they were mic'd up. Mike Tomlin was mic'd up, and like they met before the game, and he was like trying to talk to Mike, and Mike was acting like he just, you know, doing like the fake I have to talk to a coach thing. Like, bro, get away from me. I don't like you, dog. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things, right? And then it just shows how bad that culture was, bro. Like, I don't understand how he didn't learn a damn thing. And that's just kind of basically shows his personality. Like, really, you didn't learn anything, right? And, you know, you're still running Dagger all the time. I'm so happy I don't see Dagger anymore. I don't know how much I'm going to see Dagger this year, but I'm happy about it. I mean, I was happy about it at the end of the season. I still saw a little bit, but this year, I'm tired of the Dagger concept. I can recognize it so well now. It's just crazy. So, but I'm tired of it. I'm just happy he's gone. And I think this team morale is going to be better. But I will say, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. His comments are not all Josh McDaniels. I think this is the Brock Bowers draft.
So you think he's pissed off about that?
I think it lit a fire in his ass. I think he's a little mad about it, which he should be. I think if you're as good as he is, just think about this, Glenn. That dude Michael Mayer is a stud. Like even when last year when he started getting a lot of targets, he basically became the second guy behind Devontae Adams for Aiden O'Connell at the end of the year, but then he got hurt. Like, we don't know how those last 4 games would have went. I mean, I think he'd become more of a household name because once they started using him, like he became a third down guy. Like a lot of I forgot what game it was, but the Chargers game, bro. Like he was eating on third down, right?
Yeah.
So I think that lit a fire in his ass a little bit too. I think that draft pick just kind of got him going. I think it's Josh McDaniels. It's a little bit of Brock Bowers too, but that's football players though, right? I mean, you bring in competition, you expect that to happen to him.
Well, I guess the reason I don't know, I didn't register the Bowers because he kept talking about last year there were times he didn't feel like coming into work. I mean, you don't know your Brock Bowers is going to be your teammate last year, so that's just my look. I'm not saying he took it well. I can imagine he looked at his phone like, oh shit,
what the fuck?
Yeah, we had a guy at my position, which is not, and a lot of fans agreed with him probably a little bit at the time. Not me, because I'm all about getting all the horses out there. I want playmakers everywhere. And like I said, they're two different guys. I think Mayer and Bowers play the game differently. I think Mayer's got that like prime Jason Witten. I know we know a different Jason Witten as Raider fans, but like the productive years of Jason Witten, whereas Brock Bowers is like a Kelsey, and it's like, why don't you start thinking about maybe having both? Would you, if you were a guy, can I get you Jason Witten in his prime and Travis Kelce in his prime on a team? Like, would you take that? Yeah, you probably would.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying either guy's going to get to there. I just mean that's their skill set. And it's up to Getsy, right? I think this year, if Getsy's offense, which it seems like people are learning well and people are actually saying it's very user-friendly, it seems like. And if that goes well, and these guys see that it's like, okay, there's targets for me, there's targets for him. Red zone, I think both those guys are going to be huge. And if they win some damn games, right?
Yeah.
Like if you winning cures everything. It does. It could have made Josh McDaniels a palatable coach, probably.
Yeah. Winning does cure everything. But like I said, I mean, I do think it's a little bit of both. It's just the fire. Right, you got the fire under him from that draft pick, and Josh McDaniels is an asshole. He wants to come to work now. It's a little bit of both, which I'm excited about. To be honest, Michael Mayer with a fire under his ass, yes, that's actually a good thing to be. That's a great situation for the Raiders because that means he's gonna try. I mean, he's gonna try to outplay Brock Bowers.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is how teams work, man. Like this is how the draft works. Like, this is why you draft best player available, because even if it's at a place where you're like, well, we already have this guy. It's like, now there's competition. And like I said, I can move Bowers to the slot at times. I can do lots of things. And, one guy might get hurt. There's a lot of things that can happen here. And I still think it was just, man, like, this is bad. Like, this is just a bad situation. Yeah, it's pissing me off. Like, I don't want to be here. This is probably the first time. Like, if somebody makes you hate the thing that you love, like, it's worse than going to a job you don't even like, because at least the day's not going to go well. You don't have these like rose-colored glass, or like you don't have this optimism going into the building. Oh, I'm going to play the game that I worship. And then this guy with a visor comes in and he just sucks the life out of the room. And with Bowers and him, I expect that to be the best tight end group in the league, perhaps even year one. Truly. It
might be, bro. It might be.
They even the players. I noticed some of the guys they talk about like Fotheringham being tight. Like some of the players, like they'll just be like, yeah, Cole Fotheringham is sick. And then Harrison Bryant, like these guys, like those guys at the back end are pretty good, I think.
Yeah, they got a damn good tight end group, man. Like for sure, like
dominant position. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's why it's so important for them to be able to run in 12 personnel. Because I'm telling you, if they run the ball well in 12 personnel, the first 2 weeks of the season
can't be stopped. Yeah, at that point,
they'll be in trouble. Like I'm telling you, man, it's just because so many things you can do with Brock Bowers. Like I could give him reverses, I can throw him a screen, a wide receiver screen. I could line him up at fullback and show that play that that was I put on Twitter with the Titans. There's so many things you can do with him. That's why if you can run the damn football, man, teams are in trouble. But
no, and I think you have a quarterback that's just, I think Aiden O'Connell's gonna be able to make the quick read that you need in that offense, and then just play action all day. That's what I want to see all day with this offense. Run the ball, play action.
All right, so get some of these questions here, and then we gotta do a quick commercial. So, like I said, we got commercials, guys.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
We're Dogs Media Network. So, can we get a quick shout out to Carmen Brasillo doing a great job at masquerading as O-line coach. Yeah, he was awful. I mean, for an O-line coach to have his O-line hate him,
Yeah.
I mean, there's only two guys. There's only one other guy that happened to, and of course, he was a Raiders coach. And that's Tom Cable. You know.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's crazy. So many people hated it. Yeah, hated it here.
Has there ever been like another O-line coach that was hated?
Yeah, I mean, I know the guy that was snorting coke in Miami had more fans, dude. That guy, people loved that guy. They're like, nah, he was sick. Yeah. That's the last. Yeah. No, they were like, that's my guy. Yeah. I mean, I was out of frame in the picture, you know, like, but.
That's because he's a party with them, bro, and live.
Yeah. Those are the only line coaches I know that are like infamous, right? Like it's just, but people were like, nah, he's tight. Like,
oh man, yeah. Even Mike Tice, they like Mike Tice though. Mike Tice, they like Mike Tice, bro. But
yeah, for sure.
It's so real. It's the truth, man. Like I just never thought of like an O-line coach being like hated.
Yeah, not publicly at least. Like they might be something. Yeah, exactly.
My bad. Publicly. You're a happy fat guy.
Yeah. Yeah, you're supposed to be like just snacking in the room with the fellas, you know. It's like, you know, even if you're bad, they're like, it's still fun, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Can you talk about why they say Getsy's offense is easier to learn than McDumie's offense? Basically, because the West Coast offense is kind of designed by pure progressions. So it's easier for wide receivers to learn. All right. Now, to be honest, I think the run game in the West Coast is tougher, right? Because it's a mixture of power and zone, and McDaniels is basically just power. So it's just counters, that normal stuff you see in power offense. But West Coast is going to be a little different. There's going to be more plays mixed in with the run game. Like, you know, with Erhardt Perkins, kind of the run game doesn't really like vibe off the pass game like West Coast offense does. The West Coast, I mean, there's a run play and a pass play like every single time. Like Erhardt Perkins is a little different than that. Like it's a pass play. There might be like some alerts with the pass play, but the pass play is a pass play. That's why when we got to this point, like NFL, the whole NFL they know the Patriots offense. The whole NFL knows it because it's not different. It hasn't changed since 1980, to be honest. So maybe you add a shotgun to it, I guess. But the concepts haven't changed, right? Yeah. So if you have that type of offense and it's not going to build like with the run game mixed in and all that stuff. And, you know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but from my studies, I know that's how the difference between the West Coast and or Perkins. But also, you know, wide receivers don't have to be quarterbacks out there. They get a route, they just run a route. I got a post route. Yeah. I got a choice route. Maybe choice route's like the most difficult. Yeah. Exactly.
Stuff you feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more vibing. Let's say that. Let's just say.
Well, and also, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but this might be just too simple of a take. But like, so many people, like other players, it allows you to bring in more other players because they might have familiarity in a West Coast type scheme. Erhardt Perkins is like a couple people run that. So you're installing it with somebody, and you can sign somebody. Okay, I'm gonna go bring in this big free agent, and it's like, I don't know anything about that offense, you know. Whereas they might have said, well, I come from this West Coast kind of style offense. It might be an easier. You might be able to watch somebody's film and be like, yeah, bring him in, you know, and it just is already operating in it basically. So that it might be a little less exotic. Maybe I hope he's able to get more exotic. But also there were just so many like free yards that McDaniels wouldn't take. I feel like a lot of times because he was just so rigid in running like either like weird tosses on like 3rd and 4th, the weird McDaniels trick play on 3rd down. People forget about that one. There was always that weird thing that never worked with Devontae Adams. And it's like, I just think there were so many times where it was like, hey man, I think we're better than this team right now. Go get the yards in front of them. And I just hope Getsy can do that. Yeah,
for sure. Could winning cure outside the way? I just thought that was funny.
We wouldn't care. We would forget who that was if we were winning. That's the no, truly, it's an honest. I know it's kind of like a joking question, but like we remember every bust because we still stink.
That's true.
Like a lot of teams, every team has a horrible pick in the first round. It happens all the time. Like just a random team. Like the Eagles drafted Jalen Reagor over Justin Jefferson. Jalen Reagor's horrible. Yeah. No one cares. No one cares that they did that. Like, I mean, people do bring it up. Yeah, they could have Justin Jefferson right now, of course, but it only matters when you're like, oh, they haven't won the playoff game. I saw the graphic today. Miami's the only team that hasn't won a playoff game more, longer stretch of time than the Raiders have. When that graphic's still there, we will remember everything. And the best thing about winning is it's the Men in Black gun where they put the freaking red light and it just erases your memory. You're like, we're winning, and that's all you care about.
Yeah, and to be honest, with drafting, we always act like there's like these great drafters, but to be honest, I don't think there's really a great hit rate with GMs like that.
Yeah,
because really, to be honest, all it takes is one draft to build a great team. Like if you have one great draft, you could, the Raiders. You could talk about Reggie McKenzie. He had a great 2014 draft, and they were in the playoffs 2 years later, and that's all it takes.
Yeah,
I mean, like TJ Carey, you could go to the depth of that whole draft they had in 2014. They got a bunch of players that could play, and that's all it takes. It takes one draft. If you can hit on 3 picks in one draft, you are going to have a good team in 3 years. Like seriously, that's really all it takes.
And that's why I don't worry about need. It's like 3 years from now, you might need the guy that you swore you didn't need in that year. That's why I'm glad they took Bowers, because it was like, 3 years from now, we might have looked at like another player. Had the Raiders picked like Terrion Arnold, and maybe he's just okay or not even that good or whatever. And then you're like, who did we pass on? I'm still sad we're losing. Oh, we passed on Brock Bowers. We should have just taken him. Like that's where we would be in 3 years with stuff like that. And that's why I'm always like, don't fall in love. The weird ones are the forced picks, right? That's the ones that like really hurt you. Is like your team was like, we need this, we took this is our guy, and they just aren't good. And the Raiders seem to have done that all the time. But like I said, the good teams do it too. The good teams do it too. But you have to have that good ecosystem ushered in by good leaders. That and like I said, your bus should still have like a floor of like, okay, they had a couple nice games for us or something. They shouldn't be crashing cars into people and going to jail and posting weird Instagram videos and with guns and going to jail and stuff like that. Like that's the Raiders have had like catastrophic busts. So it's like they get nothing out of them. Like that, Cleveland Farrell's one that sticks in my mind, but at least he's like in the league.
Yeah. Cleveland Farrell is a role player in the NFL. He's probably gonna play like 10 years just because he plays the run pretty solid. He can get you a couple sacks on third down.
Sure. Probably works his ass off too. Like coaches,
solid player.
Yeah. Like it was like Darius Hayward Bay, where it was like he's gonna play in the league for 10, 15 years or whatever. Like he's just, people are gonna look and be like, damn, they took him at 4. Like
exactly.
That's crazy. Yeah, like. That's just all it is. Yeah.
Oh man.
But like the guys that are out of the league in 2 years, like it's not just the Raiders. Jeff Gladney for the Vikings. You know what I mean? Like all these guys that are just out of the league.
I forgot about Jeff Gladney.
They do nothing for you, right? Like Kaylavon Chason, like all those type of guys that are just like, maybe he's in the league. I just mean these guys were top picks and they just do nothing. They don't even do special teams. Nothing. You cannot have those. You have to at least have like, okay, yeah, we picked him a little too high, but he's like a depth on our team right now. You got to have that. Not everything's going to be a home run. You just can't have Alex Leatherwoods.
Yeah, exactly. So you see those questions before I get this commercial. We get to the rest of this stuff here. We got some topics to talk about. So are you sold on Zamir White?
Sure. Yeah.
We'll talk about it. We'll get to that. I guess these guys paid, so I'm gonna get these questions. What are the chances of Tyree being a bust? I've noticed that he takes plays off. I think we've seen him at his best. I don't know if he's gonna be a bust. We talk about igniting fires. He ignited fire in Malcolm Kuntz. So I don't know if I don't know how much snaps he's gonna play. That's the thing. I don't know if he's gonna be playing like more than 50% of the time. But I think what he has to learn to do is when he gets in the field, he has to be effective. So, I mean, because I think Malcolm Kuntz is the starter. And Malcolm Kuntz is going to play a lot of snaps because Malcolm Kuntz got better at playing the run last year. So that's going to be the kind of the tough issue with that. But we'll see.
Yeah, I think he the Graham comments were interesting about him playing inside, and it was just for him to learn to use his hands a little better and just have it was weird. I remember at like Texas Tech, wasn't he doing like a lot of weird like wide 9 stuff too?
Yeah.
Which I think is even crazier, right? Like for him, I don't that to me just seemed like that's a Big 12 mismatch thing where he was winning and stuff. So I do think he was kind of learning a new position. And there were times, I don't know that he took the play off a lot of times. I think he was like straight up confused and like couldn't keep his head down. And like there were just certain parts where he would just look and be like, okay, what do I do now? It was like, it didn't look like an effort thing. That being said, I'm still pretty optimistic about him because I think that the arm length, like he has the athleticism at least to get there. Whereas a guy like Cleveland Furrow, like we knew right away, it just wasn't going to be ever any chance of being an elite player. Wilson does still have potential to just be like a bust. I still think he's going to be a guy like a Jadeveon Clowney style player, I think is how I would actually compare him to, where it's like, okay, yeah, taken high, maybe higher than he should have been, but I think he's going to have those flash plays and really, really get a couple of like, he's going to find his like actual thing that he does really well, which I think is going to be like after a while, just ragdolling people and just dominating, being a mismatch. And then I think that's going to be the thing. Maybe it never lives up to 7, but like, you'll be like, this guy made like 7 huge plays for us this year.
Yeah. Somebody said the Raiders hated. I mean, that's why Rodney Hudson left.
Didn't he like punch somebody? I mean, somebody hated him.
People hate it. Is Gessie the guy to create 12 personnel? I really hope you're not right about that, Kenny. But they ran 12. They were 7th in the NFL in 12 personnel with the Bears last year. So if that tells you anything. And this is we'll save that question for the last one. I'll save the other questions. We're gonna take a quick break, guys. Commercial going here. We'll be right back.
The Farmer's Dog. A healthy life starts with healthy food. Icy Breeze. Cooler together. Dan-O Seasoning. Yum, yum, get you some. Fanatics. Officially licensed everything.
So there you guys goes. There you go. This isn't Panda Subs. I know, guys. It's not Panda Subs. We're trying to move up here. We're trying to move up. So
Farmer's Dog, shout out, man.
Shout out my dude Mir though. My shot from Panda Subs. I don't want to knock him. So
you always remember the first, man. You always remember the first.
Exactly. The main supporters here. So we're gonna talk about Parham moving to right guard. It's a good question right here. News is Parham going to right guard. Why did McDaniels move him? I have no idea, but I'm very happy the Raiders are smart. And they're like, this guy played right guard his whole life. Yeah.
Yeah. Might be just as simple as that to salvage something who I think he's a fine player. I think maybe you might put him in a position to be actually really good, like a really good starter on this team right around the time where his contract's up and you can figure out, do I want this guy on my team for a long period of time? I would say when they drafted him, I was like, this guy looks like a really good player. And then they immediately ask him to go do something else and it doesn't look as good. Let's see if he can do what he did in college in the NFL. That's what he's going to be doing this year. So let's see.
Yeah. I'm excited about Parham moving to right guard, though. I am excited about that because I think that he will excel there because he played like one game there and he was fantastic. I don't understand it. I have no idea why they moved. Biggest thing that bothered me that whole time that Josh McDaniels was there. I mean, not the biggest thing, but it was one of them. I'm like, bro, he's struggling at left guard. You watched him on film. He was great on the right side against the Chargers. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, why do you have to have, they just hated John Simpson, who got a contract this year.
Yeah.
Like, that dude got paid. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, the way they did the offensive line, I don't know if that was Brasillo. I don't know if that was or I don't know if that was McDaniels, but it was stupid, right? And they let John Simpson go, who ended up having a pretty good year in Baltimore, and he's a pretty good player, just like I always thought. So like I don't know why sure, John Simpson had to get his ass kicked by like Chris Jones or something. I think he got his ass kicked by Chris Jones. I think Chris Jones like baptized him that whole game, but that's fine. But we still know that he was a pretty good player and he got paid, right? So they let that go for some reason. I don't know what that was about. They played Alex Barr, so I don't even know if Alex Barr is still in the league. No. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it was just the stupidest shit with that offense line. That's why I always felt like they were trolling Derek Carr. Like, they like, it was just like, you have a potential great right guard. You're like, I don't like that. Let's move him to left.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's simple things you do when you can be competent and show that you're competent, that allows you to come in and not have to gut a lot of the roster. You realize certain guys were asked to do certain things that they aren't good at, and you go put them in the spot where they belong. And then that's a hole filled that you might have gotten the roster, might have gotten the job, and thinking, okay, maybe we don't have our right guard. It's like, wait, hold on a second. this guy can go play over there. That's what he did in college.
Yeah.
I remember him. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's as simple as that.
Yeah, so somebody put this here. He played left guard in 2019, but he played right tackle and right guard. I'm just saying that he was awesome at those places, though, at right tackle and right guard. So, I mean,
Yeah,
he obviously
yeah.
plays better there. I mean,
Perfect.
it's obvious. I don't know what you need to see. But go back and watch the Chargers game. If you don't think that, whatever you think about Dylan Parham, just go back and watch him against the Chargers. It's his first start in the NFL. Like, this is an NFL guy. You know what I mean? First start, rookie. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know how much better it needs to look. It was crazy to me. So, I mean, I'm happy that's happening. But Thayer Mumford, I know Colton Miller didn't practice, but he got all the right tackle snaps. I don't know who played left tackle, but Thayer Mumford. So it looks like it's going to be Miller, Johnson, Powers Johnson, James, Parham, Mumford. Which is not bad.
Mumford's keeping receipts too for any of us that doubted him.
Yeah, he's keeping the receipts. Did he say that?
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, show him, man. Did he put his PFF grade up there too?
He might have. He might have. No, I mean, hey, look, go ahead. I mean, I'm like, bro, it was like 7 people that doubted you, but hey, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I want to go see him ball. I like him as a player. I just laugh because I don't even think it was people that doubted him, but it was the people saying we need right tackles our number one need.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Yeah, that's kind of his thing, but that's fine. Look, guys, this is gonna be a team with a chip on their shoulder. Antonio Pierce has a chip on his shoulder, so the rest of the team is gonna do it too. That's how they're gonna operate.
Yeah, seriously, man. All right, so what we got next? We're getting rich into Crosby contract.
Yeah.
So Crosby got a new contract. He got added $6 million to it. Is that what it was?
Yeah, and he's still under contract for the next 3 years. They added $6 million to it, and there was a way, and I still don't know how this works. It feels like some Harry Potter magic thing that teams do, but it creates cap space, I guess, or gives them some flexibility, or maybe it just stops Crosby from like wanting more money or something. Maybe it was hush money, like in a way, like, hey, Max, we'll take care of you this year. Let us build around you. Let us do this and that. And then we're going to pay you, but we want to have some flexibility. That's why I think they're going to make a move right now. Like, I just feel like there's a move coming, like a Jair Alexander, Marshawn Lattimore, like that style of move in the secondary. It just, all these things, this post June 1st, and then the Crosby thing, it just feels like a way that it just feels like something they're going to do. And just shout out to Max Crosby. That's just a team player move. Like, you and I would love $6 million extra randomly deposited to us, but a lot of NFL players are like, what does that do to me, bro? I'm the best player in the league. For someone like him to just go, like, thank you, and then also like, I want to win here, and that's everything from Max Crosby shows me he just loves being a Raider, from the tattoos down to this. And the motor and playing with a grapefruit of a knee, like all through all those snaps and really not missing any time. Just can't say enough about the guy.
Yeah, because I mean, to be honest, this kind of goes back to like the trade request, in my opinion. I think it has a little bit to do with that. Just because,
good call. Yeah,
yeah, because I always thought that was about pay. Like, I don't care what he says. I mean, he makes less money than Rashawn Gary. Okay. So let's start there. He makes less money than Rashawn Gary.
Right.
I don't know how much. I mean, Myles Garrett makes like whatever. Nick Bosa makes all these crazy money. He is underpaid.
Yeah. Right? Oh, definitely.
He is underpaid. So you have to start there. I mean, that's really how you have to mix this up. I mean, if you give him a little bit of bump, I mean, because eventually they're gonna have to give him that $33 million. They are, dude, and they got to pay Malcolm Kuntz too. Right. I don't know, but we don't know that yet. Right. And they're basically betting, they're dangling money in front of Malcolm. Like, oh, here you go, Malcolm. Here's 25, maybe, if you know what I'm saying? Like, they're dangling in front of him. So, they got to kind of mix it up with him and Crosby. So I don't know how that's going to work, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, because if Tyree Wilson has a big year, maybe they decide to maybe they make a decision to let Kuntz go.
That's what I mean. That you have that Tyree, like that. Maybe they hope Tyree is just like, okay, now we have this huge problem at defensive end. Is it worth paying? Well, I mean, we're going to talk about Kuntz in a little bit, but is it worth paying two defensive ends this much when we have 3 more years of Tyree Wilson on a rookie contract. I don't really know the answer to that. I hope all of them are just destroying the offensive lines of the team and it's just chaos all year, and no matter what, they make a good decision, basically. But I think with Max, it is about money. They're going to have to pay him, and they will pay him. I think he is. I truly think he's a guy that will play most, if not all, of his career with the Raiders, including his prime years. And I think he wants to. I think he seems like a guy that's, they gave him the chance initially and then also worked through his, sobriety stuff, even though he was kind of still pretty damn good during those times. But either way, like they put up with that stuff, and he's a loyal guy. And like I said, the real issue is like, what do you do with Kuntz now?
Yeah, that's the real issue, because they're really getting to his over-under right now. But man, his season is going to say a lot, because they do have the franchise tag. I saw somebody say tag and trade at worst, but yeah, that would be the smart thing. But you could always tag him. I mean, probably the smart thing is to pay him right now, but I think it's also better to dangle money in front of his face, because he's playing for $25 million.
And one more thing before you move on, if it also depends on Aiden O'Connell. These are a quarterback-driven league. So now, if Aiden O'Connell goes out and has a good year this year, you could pay everybody.
It's too early for that, Glenn.
No, and I mean a good enough thing that, like, for him to be the starting quarterback next year. I pay a lot more people a lot more money, because you have the Brock Purdy thing, where the Niners are able to pay everybody except for the quarterback. And all I'm saying is, if they believe in Aiden O'Connell and he comes out and the Raiders are a 10-win team this year, Aiden O'Connell makes a leap, looks good. It's not out of the question. It's just maybe not what a lot of people are predicting. Yeah. Then you're like, all right, I'm paying Kuntz. I'm paying Max Crosby. I have Tyree Wilson. I have all these guys that can help me win, and I have a competent quarterback. If they have to go out and make a splash at quarterback, whether it's a veteran where you have to pay him, Kirk Cousins money, or you have to trade the farm draft pick wise, then we might be in a different conversation.
Yeah, because see, the thing is I've been thinking about this too. Like, man, what if Aiden just has a good 2 seasons?
That's what I mean. The whole team changed the dynamic. It gives you freedom, and they're operating as though he might.
Yeah.
They think he might.
They think he might. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how what he gets better at and what he does better. What he's working on. But he's being holistic, working at Alex Guerrero. So I thought it was interesting.
I love it. I absolutely love that.
So
some people are saying he's fat. I don't know. Look at Patrick Mahomes walked into the Chiefs building like me after 6 IPAs, bro. Like quarterbacks don't have to be in shape, by the way. I hope everybody understands that. There was a Sports Illustrated article where they were like, they thought dudes worked on the staff that were starting quarterbacks and stuff in the league. So Aiden's fine, dude. He just needs to learn how to use his legs a little more and be a little quicker with that. But what I mean with that is just, if they have to go find a quarterback, it gets a little interesting when you have to pay Malcolm Kuntz. If you found your quarterback, you pay Malcolm Kuntz.
Yeah, I agree with that. So somebody said, "Can you give him $10 million a year?" I mean, that would be. Would you? Let's say that if you were Malcolm Kuntz, would you take that right now?
No.
I would seriously. I would be like, I'm going to play, and then we'll see.
I bet on myself. Myself. Yeah, I wouldn't. He looked nice. He has that bend and speed that other teams pay for. So it just, the only thing you'd be saying is I'm going to get injured. Otherwise, I better take it. I might get injured. But players don't think they're going to get injured.
Yeah, exactly. They don't plan for that. Let's say that. Right. All right. So let's get into our over-unders, right? We got 300 people in here, so it's the perfect time. We're going to get into these over-unders. During the season, we do a lot of gambling on this show, right? We go to the over-unders. We do a lot of the numbers. That's more of the show is during the season. Of course, we'll always mix it up, but you know what I'm saying? So today we're doing over-unders. We're doing Malcolm Kuntz, and we're doing Zamir White. All right. So let's get into Malcolm Kuntz first. So we got Malcolm Kuntz over under 12 sacks. What do you got, Glenn?
Under. I think he'll be at 10. Yeah.
You think he'll be at 10?
10 sack guy. I don't think it's anything he does wrong. And I think it's just the fact that I think Tyree Wilson's going to take a step up this year. I think Christian Wilkins is going to be obviously the dominant force that they pay him to be. And then Max is going to go for 20. So I'm optimistic on the D line. I mean, there's only so many that can go around. There's only so many you can only hit the quarterback really one time. You can only get a half a sack, right? It's each play. And I think I got him at 10, I'd say.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna go over. Just because I like what Patrick Graham said about him, and I think that Max Crosby is still going to get double teamed a lot, and then so is Christian Wilkins, and he's going to have a lot of one-on-ones. And I'm telling you, his film to end the year, I'm going to do a film session on him pretty soon because I think it's important for Raiders fans to understand this. His film to end the year is pretty damn good. Okay. Now, his bend is crazy. He plays the run better. He's stronger. He was dominating against Rashawn Slater. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a chance that he has to hit his potential because he's already unlocked himself a little bit. So I think there's a chance that he could hit over 12 sacks if he could put it together. I mean, you have to, kind of start collecting those sacks. And I thought that he did that last year and he kind of got that feel of collecting those sacks. But if you're planning to stop the Raiders defense, right, or you want to score against the Raiders defense, like this says right here, Wilkins is going to give every opportunity for Max and Coombs to get 20 and 10 sacks, basically, right? Because they're going to have to pick, man. They are. They're going to have to pick right at this point.
Yeah. No, I think it's look, if he does that and, provided Max has a huge year and stays healthy and all that, Christian Wilkins is doing what he does best. And, don't sleep on Adam Butler, John Jenkins, guys like that, who I rewatching some of the Raiders stuff from last year. Those guys were making plays. And then Janarius, was it Robinson, that other guy? I even like him a little bit, as a developmental guy to try to make the team this year. There's a lot of and then Tyree, like I said, all of these guys, man, that's the only reason I say that is because I actually it's not just like Khalil Mack and Bruce Irvin, it's not just like just two guys that can rush the passer on the team, And I know they had Autry and they misused that, but look, we're not talking about the past. But there's more guys to make plays. I mean, and occasionally you get a guy that quote unquote underperforms in the sack department, but his PFF grade looks crazy, his win rate looks crazy, and he's still good. And that's what I think Kuntz is going to do this year. And to me, Patrick Graham said it's like he finally bought into being a technician. Was something that he had said. It was that okay, for a while he was just trying to bend around guys, it seemed, right? Because that's what he does. That's how he wins. And then he started becoming a bit of a hand fighter and stuff. And maybe it was just one thing he needed to unlock, and then all of a sudden, watch out. And maybe that's how you go over there.
I mean, he got 52 pressures in 8 games, bro. About 9 games.
Yeah. And again, Easton Stick, see through the comments, Easton Stick, guys like that. Easton Stick just that time where he got the sack fumble, won the touchdown. Easton Stick just shuffled into him. It was crazy. I know it was a nice win by him. I just mean there's going to be there were times where I thought I thought my one thing, but he also got Mahomes too. I mean, he also got Mahomes. So there were times I thought he made some of his big plays against some guys that maybe shouldn't have been playing football and stuff, but he did get Mahomes and he was huge in that Kansas City win. Yeah.
Him and Crosby won the game. They won the game. That's what I'm talking about. There's gonna be some games where him and Crosby win the game. And that's where I feel like he might get some more sacks because he's gonna be able to clean up. So that's the thing too. Yeah, because one thing we're not used to is the Raiders as a team having 55 sacks.
Yeah, right? That's can they have an Eagles year, that year when the Eagles went to the Super Bowl?
Yeah,
where they just every play were meeting at the quarterback.
Yeah, if they could have a 50 sack team, when's the last time we saw that? We just, you know what I mean? But that's them stacking up sacks, and you have 2 great sack guys, and you keep stacking them up with with Christian Wilkins and stuff like that. as a team, you can find a way to get to 50 sacks. And I think that's where you can see these guys making it work. But I mean, it's just gonna be a lot of pressure on the quarterback, regardless. Sacks or not.
That's what they need. I mean, they need it. They need it bad. And like I said, I'd go make that splash at corner, and I'd try to be dominant on that side of the ball. You hired Antonio Pierce. You have Patrick Graham. Go be dominant there.
Yeah, exactly. You said we're not counting playoffs. We're not counting playoffs. We're just going straight regular season here on this. All right. So, any last thoughts on that, Glenn? Before we get
No. I think I'm just under, but it's not a bad under. It's just because it's an embarrassment of riches at D line this year, I think.
Yeah, you're being safe. I know you're being safe there. Yeah.
He might be the guy. Yeah, who knows? Yeah, he might.
All right. So Zamir White over under 1,100 yards on the season,
and that's rushing only.
Rushing only.
Okay.
This is only rushing.
Under.
You're going under. Okay.
I think he goes about 800 yards around there.
Okay.
800 yards, around 7 to 8 touchdowns. I think he gets used in the passing game a little bit. Has a nice year, but yeah, 1,100. I mean, they're gonna run with him. You know, they're gonna run with him, and maybe it's the year. The opportunities will be there. I have my boys that aren't really like Raider fans or anything. They'll text me. They're like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna do my fantasy draft. Like, Zamir White's the guy." I'm like, I think. I'm like, I think so. It seems like he is. And but I early career, he just didn't look like he knew how to play football at all. And I know the last few games were very good, and he was.
Yeah.
But I remember you and I used to have these private conversations. I'm like, bro, this guy sucks. Like we did. I'm sorry. Like you and I did. We were like, this is not a good football player. So I'm kind of like, it's really tough. I just want to see him do it for a full season, and then I'm all in. And I wouldn't bet this. I just wouldn't bet over on this.
You know, I would probably go under 2, but you know, I don't know how much under. It just depends how they run the football, right? If they run it if they try to do a committee, if they're trying to split the carries and not give him the whole package, then really he shouldn't do that. But you know, because to be honest, because if he's the main guy and he runs the ball a lot, 1,100 isn't a lot because you could get that with like 4.1 yards per carry for like 250 carries, right? It's really not that much. But you know, it all depends on how they go with the running back by committee. What other running backs do they like? I mean, they end up liking some young guy. You know, it's gonna be interesting to see how that works with him. But it wouldn't surprise me if he got over, though.
Yeah,
it wouldn't surprise me.
Not at all. I mean, not at all. I just, as a gambler, I'm trying to think of the scenarios where it happens. And look, there's not a lot of guys there that are going to stop him from doing that. So he's going to be the guy. It's just, for me, it's like, okay, is he going to be healthy? It's a running back. Is he going? How many games does he just dominate? And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure I'm there at 1,100. Now, if this was 900, I'd say over.
Okay. Yeah. It is 65 yards a game. Our dude Raider Barry, he did the calculations for us.
Yeah, you do get the 17th game. That's true. But it's 65 yards a game. I would hope he can do that. But that's most running backs do not play. They have like a couple injury games. Like they just do. I mean, you can count on probably one hand the amount of starting bell cow running backs that played every single game. You get a couple maintenance games. That's why it's important to have depth behind them. That's why I kind of don't love that position group right now. And I'd like to see them either find somebody in a late season camp cut just to hedge a little bit, right? Like, cause it's like, man, I'm not ready to just say Zamir White's the guy. I'm just not. And nothing against him. You see the guy, he's massive when you see him. It's like the guy's like rocked up, like he looks the part, but it's tough for me to shake off what I saw early in his career.
Yeah. So we got a couple questions. How many carries Bowers got? I don't know. That's a good question. If guess he's creative, we'll see what that's gonna be like.
Dude, have you seen this undrafted kid? Tulu, what's his name? The one from Mississippi State, the wide receiver.
Mm-mm.
Have you watched him?
No. Is he good?
I would like to see you. It's my request. Do I am I an honorary platinum TDL member?
Okay.
That's my request. I'd like to see you go through him because, like, man, these are guys like I'd like to see some of that some of this fun, you know, jet sweep, Tucker, manufacture rush yards that way. Tulu Griffin, thank you, Raider Barry. That's his name. Mississippi
Okay.
State guy. Watch out. Like, man, they were handed a couple times. They handed him the ball. I was like, man, this guy might be the returner for the Raiders this year. I'm a Laube guy for return, but he's gonna get a chance as Tulu Griffin guy. So that's all I'm gonna say. I just saw when somebody said the Bowers thing. I saw a couple little jet sweeps with this Tulu Griffin guy in the SEC. I was like, okay, there's something there. I'm just saying, there's something there.
Is he undersized a little bit?
He looks a little small. Yeah.
Okay.
He looks a little small. I'm not saying he's a running back. He's a receiver. I just mean like they're gonna get a little exotic too. I think with Bowers and things like that, and I hope they do. Just
on the radio, Vinny talked about a Woo Governor from Northern Iowa. He said that dude looked really good. I'm like, who is Woo Governor?
His last name is Governor.
Yeah, it's Woo Governor. It's WOO Governor. It's like
damn, that's crazy. I hope he makes the team.
That's why I say just for the name.
It's a powerful name. Yeah. Like a wrestler. That's like a wrestler's name. My name is
Woo Governor.
Yeah. Dude, that's tight. I love that.
All right. If Zamir White's under 1,100, are the Raiders winning 10 games? That's a good question.
Yeah, 100%. They're in the playoffs. If he does.
If he gets under or over?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you say under? No, yeah. I think they're gonna have to. It's tough because like, what if Alexander Madison has 500 yards rushing, which he could?
Yeah,
he can get 500 yards rushing. If Zamir White has 800 yards and Dylan Laube has 250 yards, and then they throw the ball a lot to those guys, no, they can make the playoffs. Right? I misread the question, but yeah,
yeah. We'll see. I mean, let's say this: if he gets over 1,100 yards, they're definitely making.
That's what I thought the question was. No, if he's over 1,100 yards, a lot of questions got answered. We're fine. Plenty of you have years more left of this. We're good. You have young offensive line talent. Let's ride.
Let's go.
Yeah. We're in the playoffs. We have Brock Bowers too. We have all these other people. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. If what teams can stop the run? That's a damn good question.
I actually think, a lot of teams don't prioritize it right now, especially in the AFC, right? Because you see the gauntlet of quarterbacks, a lot of teams don't. I think that's definitely an NFC thing, like a big time NFC thing, is stopping the run. So in the AFC, I think I just think as constructed, I don't know what the stats are. I remember like the Bengals always did a pretty good job of doing it. Yeah. Ravens do a pretty good job of it. Like that North Division prides themselves on it. A lot of times Steelers always seem to find a way to do that. But yeah, in the West, it's about pass. I mean, it's a passing division. But I also think that opens up like, okay, nobody's built to stop the run. Let's go run.
Exactly.
Like, that's I remember Gruden kind of toyed at that a little bit. Was kind of like, hey, let's go run at these teams. Like these teams are light in the pants. These linebackers are 220 pounds.
Yeah, because the linebackers are smaller. Yeah, in the NFC, I mean, because the Lions, they could stop the run, and like I'm trying to think of some other teams that can stop the run. It's a good.
No, it's
the Saints.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
You got it's all based. Really, it's based on your linebackers. Because I could think of the teams with the best linebackers in the NFL, and that could be like they stop the run.
Niners are pretty. I mean, they got run on a little bit, but the Niners, when they're constructed the way they want to be, they're pretty damn good against the run. Yeah. But again, these are NFC teams. Like these are. It's just a different. I mean, there's a lot of great quarterbacks in the AFC right now. Now the NFC added some guys in the draft that could skew that a little bit, but as of now, that's a ground and pound division, that NFC, like conference. I mean, and in the AFC, different. Texans,
maybe the Texans. I'm gonna look this up actually because I'm interested in this. Like,
that's good because it's like, what if you just come out and just start? That's what I hope the Raiders can do is 12 personnel and like you just cannot stop it. That's just kind of the motto for the year. It's like we run at you, and then when you're tired of stopping the run, we can just hit the big play with one of our big tight ends, Devontae Adams, any of these guys. That's kind of the way the Raiders are going to have to win. So yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, because I don't like yards per game because it was Chicago, and I don't believe that.
Right.
You're just losing, so nobody. That's like yards per game. I can understand that. That's like the analytical part I can understand is like yards per game and like total yards, because I'm sure Chicago. I'm sure you were the best team. You were good, so
right. Teams, exactly.
But to be fair, they played better defense in the year. To be fair, I'll be fair there.
Well, you're saying, Chicago. I mean, if they were losing a lot of games, teams were running on them, right?
Well, I guess yes. I guess you can make that point. So
Because
maybe.
I actually think a bad team that does stop the run actually is good at stopping the run because teams are like, I'm up 10 points on you with 2 minutes to go. You know?
Yeah. You got a point there because it's kind of like the '06 Raiders, right? Where they were like, "Oh, this is the greatest pass defense ever," but like nobody passed on them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So if we're gonna get analytical, we'll do it. Expected points added defense, rush defense. It's the Falcons and the
Interesting.
Patriots and the Saints and the Lions, or and of course the team we all forgot, the Bucks, because they got Vita Vea.
Interesting. Yeah, the Bucks. Definitely the Bucks are good.
The Raiders were 8th last year.
I thought they did a fine job against the run last year. Yeah, I agree.
The Raiders were 8th. But yeah, and also shout out the guys to the Texans. They were 6th.
Yeah.
And so shout out to that guy.
That division makes sense too. In that division too, like just where they were at, it's like okay, that division didn't. You're going against Jonathan Taylor, you know that makes sense.
But Atlanta's probably so hyped this year. Like we got a defense, we got Kirk Cousins. They are set up to go 9-8. I just hope everybody.
I mean, I would have used pick 8 for something else if I were them, but like I said, you know, I could have got Roma Dunze and just been like, I have weapons everywhere. What are you going to do about it? And then they're like, no, we're set for 10 years, I think, at quarterback with 2 guys that really, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Different conversation.
Yeah, the Raiders finished 9th in defense EPA last year. I'm just looking at this. They finished 9th, dog. I don't know where they started at the beginning of the year. Just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so why don't they have more hype? They have like the same defense coming back.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's like their linebackers played what? No, it's all they're in the AFC. You got to go against Patrick Mahomes, and even though we all know defensive lines stop Patrick Mahomes, not quarterbacks. Like truly, when he actually loses games, that's actually what happens. That's an easy narrative. Is just go Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew. No thanks. Antonio Pierce, like who's this guy? He just oh man, the players wanted him. It's easy to count the Raiders out, and that's fine. I want them to operate from a position that nobody expects them to go. And if they get that, if they beat Baltimore like early in the year, then the hype starts. It's easy. Because Antonio Pierce is likable. They're gonna gravitate towards him. If they start winning right away, people are gonna be like, I always knew he was amazing. Keyshawn Johnson, you know, all these which you know they're friends, but I mean those type of takes will be elevated a little more in the media.
Hardcore, bro. Oh, that's the wrong one. He said, think about all the back QB. Yeah, they did play a lot of backup QBs, but they also beat Patrick Mahomes without throwing a pass.
Yeah. The Chiefs needed to win that game. That wasn't just the Chiefs had anything wrapped up. Like it was the last Chiefs loss still to this day.
I mean, it was basically the reason they won the Super Bowl is because they got their ass. They lost a game.
Of course, we find a way to actually like make that be bad. But I will never. That was a great Christmas day for me personally.
I always thought Andy Reid texting Antonio Pierce was a little bit of shade too. Like that's just a little bit. I just felt like it was just
Hey, let the shade pile up.
Thank you for motivating us to the Super Bowl. You're a great coach.
Yeah, because he knows he's gonna have to go against him after that. You know, he's gonna have to plant that seed. So you know, it's just. Again, I'm glad. It's annoying. It's frustrating when people are like, you know, oh, the Harbaugh Chargers. That's all you got here in the offseason. You're like, the Chargers suck. Like they're not a good team, bro. Like it's just like they're not a good team. They don't have any rings. They suck. But guess what? That's fine. This is their time. May is their month, dude. June also their month. July their month. Whenever there's scheduled season games, injuries. Yeah. I'd rather win. I'd rather have the hype build up after a couple nice wins rather than right now.
Yeah, and then they got Justin Herbert, the robot Herbert, who's gonna be very robotic in the offense. Like, I can't wait for that. To be honest,
they're gonna get him hurt. They're gonna run him.
You think so? I think they are too. I think they're gonna run it more than we think.
It's Greg Roman. He's not gonna switch now. He's not going to just start being like, I'm going to protect the quarterback. No, he's going to run Justin Herbert into the ground. Justin Herbert's going to be doing those weird hand injuries that he always gets. Like he's all day.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Any questions? Anything I missed? Any questions? Nothing. I think we got everything, man. I think we got everything here. we're about an hour, almost hour 30, like we usually are. Yeah, man, we did pretty good here. Any last thoughts, Glenn, before we get out of here?
Yeah, I thought the Tyree Wilson thing. I'm really interested in what he does this year. I think he's like, okay, if this defense is going to be dominant like we need it to be, and I'm not quite there to predict that they're a dominant defense. I'd love to see one splash move at corner, or even just a calculated move at corner. Steven Nelson, something like that.
Exactly.
They need to do that. But then also, if Tyree Wilson just improves the way players are supposed to improve, and I'm not saying 10-sack season, I'm not even saying that. I expect year 3 is where you want that from him. But if he's just really disruptive for them in the time that he's playing, I think right then and there, that does numbers for this defense. Like, it is just, it makes the whole thing go. And adding a guy like Tommy Eichenberg to the defense, I think was really nice because, again, if they want to keep that top 10 run defense rating, I think he's a guy that, if there are injuries, can get in there. Hopefully they give Masterson a chance. I just think this defense is, now that I look at it a little more, and I was kind of watching some of the highlights last year, I'm like, man, they were moving in a way that I didn't see prior Raiders defenses move. They looked confident and swaggering boisterously. I'll say that much. Like the song says, like he just they looked really good. Like at times, and look, there were times that was like, man, they're just not there yet. But if Tyree Wilson develops and just makes those strides, then watch out. He's kind of the key right now on that defense. It's weird. He's the wild card. I'll say that much. And it's not that weird for him to actually do that. He was the 7th overall pick. And I do see something. I'll die on that hill. I see something with him.
So as a team built like the 49ers, I'm not going to go to the Super Bowl yet, man.
I think that's the route they're going, though, is the 49ers. I think I remember I said that a few weeks ago. I think some people didn't really like it. They're like, that's not sustainable. It's like, well, Jalen Hurts is a 2nd-round pick. Like a lot of these quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson was end of the first. Not all these guys it's not all Joe Burrows out there, that are taking 1st overall, CJ Stroud. Like that's not the way everybody builds their team. More often than not, you find a system fit guy that runs your offense and has a couple hot seasons, and you try to just have the ball bounce your way a couple times. Like a lot of the NFL is left up to chance. And I just think the Raiders have the opportunity to have Aiden O'Connell show them that he's a competent quarterback, be able to pay the guys like Malcolm Kuntz, Nate Hobbs, all these other guys, keep hopefully Patrick Graham on staff, build the dominant defense, and then have playmakers on offense. And that's what the Niners have. That's literally what the Niners are. The Niners have Kyle Shanahan, which is different. He's always going to be there for as long as he's employed there, whereas Antonio Pierce would have to cycle out offensive coordinators. But other than that, I think constructed, they're trying to do the Brock Purdy kind of thing with Aiden O'Connell. And who knows if Brock Purdy can extend plays better than Aiden O'Connell, but other than, I think O'Connell's better than a lot of guys that started football games last year. And I'm willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, guys. So we're out of here. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. And also, go ahead, check out the merch. Like I said, there it is right there. There's a link. Go ahead, put that QR code for anybody who wants it. There's a QR code right there. If you need that QR code to get to, support the channel, get some merch there, and help the channel out. I definitely appreciate everybody that donated during this this Friday Night Live stream. Also, shout out to Dogs Media Network for sponsoring us, and of course Panda Subs as well. And then I do want to let you guys know that kind of next week I'm gonna be in Disney World, so there's not gonna be a lot of shows. I'm gonna be in Disney, so kind of expect that we're gonna be a little bit gone. It's kind of like my little vacation. So this is my vacation time.
How dare you? First off, how dare you, Marcus? How dare you take it the week off?
Right. So you're gonna get one more show from me and Matt.
We got UDFAs to break down, Marcus. How dare you? I asked you to break down Tulu Griffin. You go to Disney World? Come on. Have a great trip. I hope you have a wonderful time.
Thanks, man. So I'll be out there, and then and then we'll be back to it, man. After that. So, like I said, guys, we'll do one more. I think we actually are doing undrafted free agents this week. So we'll do one more show, and then of course, we'll just a little bit of a weekly break, and then we'll be right back. My little vacation. So, all right, guys. Thank you guys for watching and enjoying the show, and we're out of here. Peace.
All right, guys.